where we have earnings from AkzoNobel India, and for that we have Rajiv Rajgopal, he's the Chairman and Managing Director at the company, who joins us on the show. Rajiv, good morning, and thank you so much for taking the time out. How are you assessing the quarter with respect to, one, the industry, and I know that the industry in general has been really under pressure, and your performance individually?
Good morning, Agam. Good morning to you and all the NDTV viewers. First and foremost, as far as last quarter is concerned, I think our endeavor was to balance growth and profitability. And if you really look at it from that aspect, when I look at the industry performances, which concluded on Saturday, I would put a bit of a tick, because we've managed to grow volume double digit. We've grown revenue at about 3%, and we've also grown profit, while balancing our cost lines very judiciously, right? Three things, both on the paints and the coatings vertical, the performances were slightly different. Paints, the revenue was fairly muted, though we had a high single-digit volume growth. And in coatings, we continue to see a stronger run, particularly in our marine and protective coatings and our powder business, which sort of gave us a bit of a tailwind as the quarter went by. However, if I look at October, towards the second week of October, we've started seeing some improvement, but too early to say whether it was because of the festive, right? The good part is we are gaining market share in our decorative paints business. I think now for almost about 10 to 12 quarters continuously, we've been sort of gaining market share, which augurs well. And our endeavors to really to continue to focus on our brand, develop a portfolio. So if you look at it, we put our new offerings, which is Dulux Velvet Touch Eterna, which is at the top, right at the top. We've also enhanced our offerings on brands like Dulux Super Clean, where we've now come with anti-scuff on the walls, etc. So our focus is really, making sure our brands are sort of positioned well. We are invigorating our propositions as we move forward, driving our distribution. We are almost hitting close to 5,800 towns, and really driving the productivity and sweating our assets and making sure that we deploy our cost very carefully. So that's the sort of performance we've seen as we moved in the last quarter.
Right. No, so Rajiv, I want to better understand, going into the second half this financial year, what is it that you will likely see impact the top line? Will it be mostly your volumes growth? Can that see a further improvement, and can that go into double digit? And what sort of a pricing action can we expect going forward? I believe you've already taken some price hikes over the quarter gone by, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. So Agam, look, right now, even in the last quarter, we had a very high single digit, almost 9% volume growth in the decorative paints business. And I assume you're alluding to the decorative paints for now. So with that assumption, I'm also talking of the quarter ahead. Coatings was anyway double digit, right? So look, my forecast doesn't change, which I mentioned on your channel the last time I was, which is the outlook continues to be a double digit volume growth. The volume value will start balancing by end of January, because the price drops happen in December and January, and that is quite significant. It was a 4% price correction drop. The price increase that we've taken of about 2% happened between July and August, and that will really pan out in the last quarter. So it's in the Jan-March quarter where you will see the complete material benefit of it. But yes, we will see some improvements. And the reason I'm being a little cautious is because obviously the discounting in the market has also gone up, because of the new entrants and certain irrational pricing. We've been very, very careful in the way we participate, given our strong positions in premium, and making sure that we are able to drive on the brand side more and our distribution side, rather than just focusing on and increasing our discounts.
Rajiv, what does the decorative segment contribute to your overall top line at the moment? And secondly, I also want your opinion on how things could pan out for the company, and I tell you why. Because we are seeing increasing competition in the decorative paint segment. Of course, you have yet another large player in Birla joining the race here. So how are you looking at things shaping up when it comes to your market share? I believe you've already suggested that you have gained market share in the decorative paint business as well.
Yes. So again, so look, we are focusing on our strategy, and our strategy takes into consideration the new players, because we knew at the beginning of the year that the players are coming, and we know the sort of offerings, or at least have an understanding of how they could disrupt the market, right? So we've not been too off. In terms of what we are really doing, look, our focus has really been enhancing our propositions, making a quality proposition, which is the reason why consumers buy us, really stand out, and making sure that we, are able to engage our entire channel, our distributors, our dealers, to try and make sure they are focused in driving our distribution objectives, and also making sure that we are driving up painters. Now, look, as far as the new players are concerned, I think there is an initial, obviously, selling in which has happened. What we need to wait out is to see how the sustained thing pans out in terms of sellout. We have a higher market share in premium, right? We've got almost a 15 to 16% market share in premium, and hence I would believe that relatively we would be insulated compared to some of the other players a little more. Also, Dulux is a brand which has got a high brand recall, and our challenge has been that, look, we are present in large towns, metros. When I joined the business 10, 12 years, our endeavor is to try and see how we get into the smaller towns, and that's the journey we've set ourselves. And we continuously monitor it. It is not going to be a easy ride. Is it going to be a bit of a roller coaster ride? Yes, it is. But we are, I think, mentally and physically braced for it.
What's the revenue split between decoratives and coatings?
Yeah, so typically on an average, it's about 60-40. Decorative is the larger business, but it could be 63 or 65. It depends on the seasonality. Like, for example, the different businesses have a higher cyclical nature. So really, it's on an average about 60-40.
Rajiv, a few leaders from the industry have actually, I can't say suggested, but there was some implications of taking over AkzoNobel partially or completely. I want your opinion and your view on what the management has in terms of their intention. Are you looking to sell at least a handful of units? If not, is the company up for sale? Can you give us some sort of clarity here?
What I can tell you is what is already available in the public domain. At this point of time, the global parent is doing a strategic review of all the businesses I handled, all the countries I handle. And the idea is simply how can you take Dulux into a winning position? So if you look at it, I said, look, in the last 10 to 12 quarters, we are gaining market share. Is that enough for you to really feel thrilled about? The answer is no. With the sort of disruption that the market is seeing and likely to see, what we want to do is to try and see all options. We will look at every option, that strategic option. I think that's what the global parent wants to do. The CFO and I are recused from the process, and as soon as I know something, of course, we will first inform our board, stock exchanges, and inform all of you. It's too early in my view, and I must sort of put a caveat there that I've recused myself, but it's too early in my view because the process has just started, right? But the thought is, how can we take these brands, our paints, Dulux, some of our coatings, to a completely different level, right? There are two options. One, you sort of invest the sort that some of the new players have done. Now, that's something obviously I don't think is wise, is sensible. The other is, do we partner, or do we look at any other option at a point in time? It's too early in the day. It's a fantastic business. Let's also say it's one of the most profitable business. If you read our CEO Greg's comments, it is one of the most profitable businesses for AkzoNobel. So I can only tell you, both at a global level and at a local level, we will ensure that the business is sort of given into safe hands, and it is with an intent of making sure that we continue to win if that option arises.
Okay, Rajiv, we leave it at that. That was actually there was a lot of clarity given here. Thank you so much for speaking to us here at NDTV Profit, and also being very forthcoming with respect to that last question specifically, because that is something that a lot of investors were looking forward to. But thank you once again.